Good day, everyone. This meeting will be all about chapters 6, 7, and 8. Just a brief overview. Chapter 6 is about objectives, strategy, recommendations, and action plans. Um, Part 7 will be strategy implementation, and Part 8 will be strategy evaluation, monitoring, and control. To start off, part six, there are actually three parts for part six. Part A, strategic and financial objectives will be done by Clyde. Part B, recommended business strategies will be done by Marian and I. And part C, recommended organizational strategies will be made by Shane and Marcus. So let's start with part A, strategic and financial objectives by Clyde.
To start with the strategic objectives, Porsche has a strategy called basically the Porsche Strategy 2030. And Porsche strategy is broken down into six cross-cutting elements: the customer, products, sustainability, digitalization, organization, and transformation. So the customer cross-cutting strategy focuses on customer relations and creating premium customer experiences that further ensures customer loyalty while attracting new crowds to the Porsche brand. And for the products cross-cutting strategy, it focuses on the needs and future needs of the customers, making sure to align said strategy with digital and connective products and services. The sustainability cross-cutting strategy covers everything from social and environmental aspects to responsible corporate governance. The digitalization cross-cutting strategy focuses on improving the company's own digital skills, which shortens the time needed to market for new products and business models. The organization cross-cutting strategy focuses on the company's organizational alignment to ensure that it is optimally prepared for any future requirements. It is important for processes to be and effective and as efficient as possible. The transformation cross-cutting strategy focuses on people. The people within the company are provided with new ways and methods of working. Leadership plays a crucial role in getting the employees on board, as it is important to notify them about changes promptly and be involved in processes to allow them to jointly expedite transformation. So that's it for what I have for strategic objectives, and um, uh, for financial objectives, I have to continue there regarding the profitability program 2025.
All right, thank you for that, Clyde. So that would be part A. Part B would be recommended business strategies. So to start off, this part would be this should provide a more specific and comprehensive discussion of your proposed strategies consistent with the directions or generic strategies indicated by the strategy formulation tools. Avoid generic and motherhood statements. The strategies should enable the company or organization to achieve its objectives and address the strategic issues identified in your external and internal analysis. And this part, we should include functional level strategies for the following areas: marketing, sales and distribution, operations, production, manufacturing, finance, and human resources. So we've already filled out some of these strategies, like possible strategies for this part. So for number 2, for the different areas, different departments, we have marketing. So number 1, use strategic alliances with brands like Volkswagen to market the brand. Volkswagen should promote the Porsche brand via strategic partnerships. In terms of sales and earnings, the Volkswagen Group is among the top global automakers. With the help of Volkswagen, Porsche can market its products in wider and newer markets and territories around the world. To boost the performance of the business, a strong marketing strategy is required. Porsche ought to pursue new markets in Latin America, Asia, and Africa. So number 2, continuous digital marketing efforts. The digital strategy of the organization is built on social media. In order to develop a strategy that will be advantageous to the business and allow for social interaction with clients, it is infusing social media thinking into its digital marketing. Millions of Porsche's online followers are frequently updated with visually appearing car photographs, blog posts about automotive technology, and related articles. It wants to give its consumers the finest experience possible. Porsche must upgrade its social media to appeal to a younger generation with different expectations. By 2050, the car industry is expected to rise by a factor of 4. Porsche needs to win over tomorrow's buyer group today if it hopes to capitalize on this. The target audience will be drawn in as a result of the development of Porsche's digital marketing strategy, which will also help the company's ultimate objective be met. The desired marketing aim can be accomplished through the use of multi-channel marketing and channel integration. And number 3, enhance market profiling. Porsche may be inclusive in their digital marketing, but it's vital to remember that these will create client profiles in order to sell effectively and just to a certain market niche. They will need to profile potential clients first based on their income, age, gender, education, occupation, and social status. Next, they need to check the client demographics. As a result, Porsche is able to identify a method of measuring factors that approximates the media size to utilize in enhancing their promotions in a particular target audience. However, the bottom segment's word of mouth is a post-marketing characteristic that comes before their main purpose. Second, Porsche needs to use psychographic segmentation as another tool for better client engagement and relationship building. To learn more about the consumer, the business looks into the behavioral aspects such as psychology, lifestyle, personality traits, and beliefs. Because of this, the company is able to better serve its customers, especially those who can afford to buy their products, by understanding what they want and need. The success of Porsche's car purchases is also significantly influenced by geographic location. They ensure that product purchases are made within a landscape by using their dealerships, which are dispersed all over the world, and putting their resources to good use. To maximize the brand, it is necessary to identify differences in unit preferences in terms of qualities, benefits, quality, price, and use or user. 4, do more campaigns and promotions. Porsche needs to do more than just advertise its automobiles in order to establish a reputation for reliability and internal relevance. Instead of only selling cars, they also need to engage in charitable endeavors to make a difference in society. The brand will also need to participate in charitable endeavors supporting deserving causes in order to give it a stronger position both in the automotive industry and society. Porsche must help schools and donate to environmental projects all around Asia, despite the fact that they are a European firm and fare better in first world nations in terms of revenue. So lastly, for marketing shift of target market, Porsche should also consider changing their focus to the middle class. This choice could aid the business in growing its footprint and creating sister companies that concentrate on inexpensive SUVs and sports cars. Just like Audi, one of its greatest competitors, Porsche can shift their attention to not only the upper class but also the middle class as well. Porsche needs to dominate the market and make more money in order to achieve this. This can be accomplished by growing the business through acquisitions, strategic partnerships, and joint ventures. Focusing on SUVs is another method to go about it because over the past 2 years, sales of their SUV models have outpaced those of their other models. So, sales and distribution aspect. 1, enhanced distribution line. Porsche can enhance its distribution line by opening up different locations globally, specifically in Asia and North America. This would entail more resources such as capital and workforce, amongst others. Currently, Western Europe and Asia are the most desirable markets for expansion, particularly nations with a combined adult population of more than 1 billion, like China, Hong Kong, and Singapore, have had fast growth and development. Porsche can boost their company's purchasing power by going worldwide. As long as the additional profits earned surpass the cost of entering the new market, more customers lead to better sales. So number 2, distribute more Macan SUV models to China. So according to the perspective issued by the firm in advance of its 9.4 billion euro IPO, China is the largest market in the world for Porsche automobiles. Not only did China account for 32% of all vehicle sales in 2021, it is also the group's single largest market, and behind the United States, the market with the fastest growth. Porsche's Chinese operations generated roughly 10.56 billion US dollars in revenue last year. If the vehicle sales figures are any indication, focusing on delivering more SUV models to China will exponentially increase Porsche's sales growth. So next aspect would be operations, production, or manufacturing. So number one, focus on Macan, Cayenne, and SUV production. In 2021, SUVs led by the Macan were once again the best-selling Porsche models globally. The Porsche Cayenne was the most popular Porsche sold globally for the year 2022, accounting for 41,947 of all Porsches sold globally. Focusing on producing more SUVs will help Porsche create more sales, thus more revenue in the long run. With this, Porsche can also balance market development to various class categories while continuing to serve its devoted clients in accordance with its passion and legacy, which is equally crucial for their devoted customers. Number two, produce fuel-efficient cars. Porsche has always focused on certain clientele. These customers, however, are now concerned about fuel consumption. They emphasize powerful yet fuel-efficient automobiles. This circumstance explains why the company should focus on making an effort to create fuel-efficient vehicles. Number three, continuous production of current models. Another suggestion is for Porsche to concentrate on its own market niche and keep making its current models, like the Cayenne, Macan, and 911. This will aid in eliminating all flaws and averting potential dangers of future models Porsche may produce in the future. With this, Porsche must figure out ways to further improve their current models. Porsche must invest in more research and development and provide more training to the overall expertise of their workers and employees in this field. For continuous quality development, Porsche may concentrate on ongoing quality development through technological advancement with the aid of new procedures and technologies to maintain the brand's status. This is because consumer decisions are influenced by brand image. Lastly, number five, innovate and improve products. Through ongoing innovation and technical improvement, product quality of current models and future models is maintained and improved. Since the 2011 merger of the Volkswagen Group and Porsche, Porsche has had access to the resources of the Volkswagen Group and can collaborate together for technology transfer from the Volkswagen Group to maintain the level of excellence. Porsche needs to spend more money and resources on research and development to achieve this. Additionally, the company culture must be emphasized and employees' innovation must be fostered. New ideas and creativity must be openly expressed by employees at all levels. So next aspect would be finance. So number one, lower component and vehicle price. Porsche should seriously consider reducing the price of its vehicles and components. More consumers would buy cars if they were more affordable to them. Another suggestion is that the company could do well to provide a distinct line of automobiles that are more reasonably priced if it wants to maintain exclusivity on the luxury front. The corporation would make even more money than it now does if it produced a line of Porsche cars that were meant to be bought and driven by the typical middle-class family. The corporation should find a means to lower consumer maintenance and gas expenses, as well in addition to the previous recommendation given. More people would buy the cars if they could afford to pay for routine maintenance without having to spend more than 3 times as much as they would to maintain a vehicle from a less expensive brand. So lastly, for finance, design-driven cost reductions. So manufacturers can discover essential elements of their cars that consumers appreciate and eliminate expensive waste by adopting design-driven cost reduction strategies. Consumer unit costs will ultimately decrease as a result of these cost-cutting strategies, and the time to market will be shortened. Engineering on a budget can significantly save costs and is ideal for growth platforms in emerging markets. The glove box and rearview mirror are 2 examples of non-differentiating components that can benefit from frugal engineering. Additionally, it injects flexibility and cooperation into the implementation process. Finally, it establishes a timeline for action and holds engineers accountable for cost-cutting suggestions. So next few areas will be done by Marian.
Okay, so for the recommended business strategies for human resources, first we have employee training. So with the advent of cutting-edge robotics, new manufacturing technology, and stronger safety and environmental standards, the automotive sector is going through significant changes. So the automotive workforce has become international, resulting in a growing requirement for training and education in everything from new product development to compliance with legislation governing an extremely regulated industry. Because it is a one-time investment, spending money to train staff pays off handsomely. Number two is to develop a training budget. So this strategy permits employees to have a budget for personal or professional growth. This gives employees the freedom to choose how they want to advance, maybe through seminars, webinars, certification courses, almost anything that will broaden their knowledge and benefit the company. Together with them, their managers can decide on the appropriate course of action, and HR can approve it to make sure it complies with all corporate rules. Number three is equity, diversity, and inclusion in the organization. So for modern businesses, equity, diversity, and inclusion are non-negotiable. Porsche's hiring procedures are the first step in EDI work, which continues their day-to-day workplace in this present ever-evolving world. Porsche should be gathering and analyzing EDI data on attrition, hiring, promotion, and access to development opportunities. Maintaining thorough data will aid in fostering an EDI commitment for Porsche that goes beyond box checking and serves as an overarching perspective. The fourth strategy is to highlight corporate social responsibility. So the concept of CSR holds that companies have a duty to the communities in which they operate. Environmental, ethical, and philanthropic responsibilities are the three social obligations that receive the most attention. As temperatures in cities around the world approach record highs, workers are urging more than just their governments to take action against global warming. Employees want their company to make pledges to reduce pollution, rely more on renewable energy sources, and mitigate the effects of its greenhouse gas emissions. The fifth strategy is to focus on employee well-being. If Porsche doesn't frequently check in with their staff, it would be difficult to determine how they are doing. It is essential to include check-ins throughout brief meetings and promote a caring workplace atmosphere. And the last strategy for HR is to provide professional development plans for employees. An essential component of any long-term HR strategy is developing professional development plans for the staff members. Star employees that are equally invested in Porsche as the company is in them will be created when the company has hired top talent and further developed their skills. Long-term financial savings will also result from avoiding the hidden expenses of recruitment brought on by high employee turnover. So that would be all for the recommended business strategies.
Thanks, Marian. Next part C, would be done by Shane and Mary Chris.
So for my part in chapter 6, letter C, I was assigned to identify strategies that will involve the necessary changes needed in order to align the organization with the requirements of the business, given the long-term objectives and strategies. And based on the previous chapters, this is what I have gathered. First is Porsche has to create a plan that will further address the organizational alignment of the business to best position it for future demands. Then processes should be optimized for effectiveness and efficiency. Porsche must also specify the strategic value development that are or will be created either internally or by outside vendors in the future. Strategic partnership considerations will also need to be made in this. The business must also accentuate interaction with consumers and continue to enjoy high levels of consumer loyalty while drawing in new audiences. Porsche would also need to teach its employees new working procedures. When it comes to bringing the Porsche workers on board, transparency is crucial. They should continue to be informed of changes as soon as possible and included in procedures so they can work together to accelerate transformation. Here, strategic thought and practical actions are required. So focusing on enhancing the business internal digital capabilities and involving partners would be essential. The success of the company should be significantly influenced by reducing the time it takes for new goods and business models to reach the market and adopting an open platform approach. Also, by using artificial intelligence and doing data driven optimizations. So that's all for my part.
So for my part, I was assigned in number two of letter C, which is recommended organizational strategies. And my part, I was tasked to identify strategies that will address the identified strategic issues, address the organizational weakness of the company, or take advantage of its strengths. So I've also based my part on the previous chapters that we've made so far. So what I've gathered is that it's important that the company addresses their identified internal strategic issues and organizational weakness in order to improve the company itself. Now, addressing the identified internal strategic issues will be done by using the information and data from the external and internal analysis and also from the SWOT framework. We can also utilize the IFE matrix, SWOT matrix, and the IE matrix to identify which issues to give more urgency and importance to, and to basically identify the areas of improvement and opportunity on different levels of importance. Now, by using these, we can be able to identify the most critical subjects that the firm needs to address, perform a root cause analysis, and use a smart action plan to tackle these critical issues. Addressing organizational weaknesses engages employees and builds trust. Not only would the organization perform better, but this gives employees the opportunity to solve weaknesses together and identify areas of opportunity. This also promotes future growth for the company and building the right culture within its people. And lastly, the company must also utilize their strengths and work on finding more areas of opportunity where they may hone their strengths even further. That's all for my part.
Mar.
First kay strategy map, Marcus, for chapter 7.
For my part in chapter 7, which is the strategy map, I'm still in the process of filling up each objective. I haven't finalized like the map itself. And so far, these are what I have gathered. First is the financial objective. I listed down increase revenue and maximize shareholder revenue. Then for customer objective, improve customer service, lower wait time, and exceed customer expectations. The next is the internal business process. I listed improve car model offerings, increase consulting knowledge, and improve internal efficiency. And last is the learning and growth. For now, I still have here increase employee transparency and technology enhancement. So that's all for my part as of the moment.
Okay, so for our assigned part, we have departmental action plans and programs. So in doing this, we classify the action plans according to strategic and departmental programs. We show the relationship between the action plans and programs that will support the objectives and strategies of Porsche. Next, we outline the different programs and identify the step-by-step action plans that will be undertaken to progress the implementation of the strategic plan. And fourth, we develop the action plans and programs per department in terms of resource requirements such as financial, physical, technological, and human resources that will support the strategies. So in making this part of the drama, we define the project goals, the project objectives, action steps. We identified and prioritized action items. We defined roles and responsibilities, allocated resources, set the SMART goals, and set a timeline for the action plan. Faith, would you like to add for this part?
Or yeah, in addition to what Marian has mentioned, we're still in the process of making this part. So what I've researched on is about what an action plan is and some tips for developing action plans. So this are my reference for this is from the US Department of Health and Human Services under the Administration for Children and Families category. So For what is an action plan? An action plan is a roadmap that can help you accomplish your program goals and objectives. Just as there are different ways to get to a destination if you're taking a trip, there are different routes a program can take to reach goals, meet objectives, and achieve outcomes. So, tips for developing action plans. So, the first one is include the three vital elements. So, action plans generally include the what, who, and when. So, next part would be add other ingredients. So additional ingredients might include such things as how you will measure the progress, your evidence or data source, markers for quarterly status updates, financial supports, and resources needed. Next would be start each action with a verb. This will remind you that action steps are things to do. Next step, consider which actions are sequential and which are not. Some actions must be taken in chronological order because a specific action must be completed before the next can occur. So next step, use the plan, do, and review. So this concept is equally useful for an action plan. Creating an action plan is a big project. It's tempting to but then wait. Sorry. Next step, last step would be keep it current. The best laid plans do change as things go along. Make course corrections by adding additional action steps or getting rid of ones that turn out to be unnecessary, and by changing timelines as needed. By understanding goals, objectives, outcomes, progress, and action plans, you can more effectively carry out your 5-year plan. Thinking about the goals from a big picture perspective allows you to anticipate expected challenges, and this in turn enables you to better forecast the expected outcomes. So those are some tips that I researched for this part.
Okay, so for chapter 7, Faith and I are also assigned to work on the financial projections and overall evaluation of the strategies. So in this part, we will show and discuss the long-term financial plan or projections in comparison with historical performance. We show and discuss the projected income statement, balance sheet, and cash flows, and we indicate ratio to sales and annual growth rates. So as of now, since we aren't done yet with chapter 7, what we did is that we compiled first all of the historical performance of Porsche. So we have presented the income statement, balance sheet, and cash flows. We also indicated the ratio to sales and annual growth rates. We will then be working on the long-term financial plan or projections we have for Porsche, and we will come up with the projected income statement, balance sheet, and cash flows. We will also indicate the ratio to sales and annual growth rates. So next is chapter 8, which is strategy, evaluation, monitoring, and control. So Shane will be talking about the first part, letter A.
So for chapter 8, I was assigned in letter A. I'm supposed to describe the current information system, whether it is capable of providing sufficient feedback on the implementation of activities and performance. I still have yet to start this part. However, I did already create like a step-by-step plan on how I can be able to do my part. So first, I have to research on the current information system being used by Porsche. And second, of course, to identify the features, what features were newly added, why they were added. And then I will be assessing the strengths and the weaknesses of this information system and assess how it provides feedback and how efficient it is in doing so. And then by doing these, I'll be able to identify how capable it is in doing what it's supposed to do, which is providing sufficient feedback, and therefore rate how efficient and effective the information system is to the company.
All right. Thanks for that, Shane. The next part for chapter 8 would be part B, which will be discussed by Marian.
Okay, so for part B, I will be describing the company system and measuring and evaluating strategic factors. So since we aren't finished with chapter 7 yet, I also did some research for this part. So based on my research, I have learned that in designing, developing, and implementing a new performance measurement system, it is important to keep in mind that successful measurement systems should be designed to meet real business needs and expectations. It should be driven by customer requirements. The success factors should drive results, and the improvements should be defined. We should express in numbers what needs to be tracked. And next, for fast feedback, we need to have quick and meaningful action. Next, there should be specific quantification of performance factors that are not open to multiple interpretations. There should be proper balance, and emphasis should be clear. Next, it should be understandable to the people who have to use the measurement system, or it should be easy to evaluate. And next, we should promote company-wide involvement. Lastly, there should be clear linkage to cause and effect up, down, and across the company. I also looked into examples that will help me in this part of this trauma. To share with you some of the examples would be for innovation. One example for the performance measure would be the number of new products launched. For increased customer satisfaction, we have customer complaints per 10,000 products sold. And for quality improvement, we have defect rate per 10,000 units produced. So that would be all for my part.
Thanks, Marian. For the last part of part 8 would be done by me. So part C, describe the company's adequacy of the current control measures in ensuring conformance with the recommended strategic plan. So I still have to check with the previous chapters, previous parts for this. And I've searched, I did some research, and there's here are some ways on how to ensure control measures remain effective. So I believe that this article can help me analyze Porsche's current control measures and to see and to compare with other with its competitors. So one way of ensuring control measures are effective is assigning accountability. So all workers are responsible for being conscientious of workplace health and safety, but it's important to establish accountability among various levels of management. This ensures the responsibility is assigned to monitor control measures and follow through with processes to flag or fix issues quickly. So for this part, I think I would need to research about Porsche's programs and policies in accordance to risk control to accurately and effectively write about this part. Next would be there's consultation, up-to-date training as well. Control measures often depend on workers having the appropriate knowledge and skill to manage their work safely. This competency should not be assumed, so regular training must be provided to ensure they're capable. So the last one would be open and effective communication within the workplace. So risk controls stay most effective when processes are well communicated and proper signage is used. Additionally, by encouraging open communication, workers will feel more obliged to speak up if problems are noticed. So yeah, that would be the end of chapter 8. So does anyone want to add anything in regards to their parts or in regards to the 6th to 8th chapter? If there's none, then maybe we can end the meeting now. So yeah, thanks guys.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks.
Yeah.